Okay, so I never found a way to get into the Serious Sam Easter egg. Which probably is a way, I'm just not seeing it, but... Anywho, let's go on.
Oh, 1K. What are you doing here?
Oh wait, it's Nath. Okay, I'm looking for Cornelius.
Ah, I assume it has something to do with your expedition? I must admit I haven't been following the news. Sorry, been a little lost lately.
Are you okay?
No, not really. When you asked me what I would do now that my job is redundant, I don't know, I guess I hadn't thought about it. I had just focused on getting there. And after you left, it all just rushed over me. The truth is, I don't know who I am without this. Creating new life, guiding people into existence, that's who I am. More importantly, I think that's who I want to be. And if we stop growing, that's the one thing I can't be anymore. That's why I wanted to talk to Cornelius. He was there at the beginning. He knows where we came from. I thought he might help me understand where I could go next.
You shouldn't have to give up who you are.
Thank you, 1K. I don't want to. I liked who I was. Who I still am. Now, you said you were looking for Cornelius?
Yes, he seems to have been at the megastructure with Athena.
Oh, that's... well, I suppose it shouldn't really come as a surprise. They were very close, you know. After she disappeared, he went away for a long time. On a research expedition, he said. To be honest, everyone assumed he was working out his grief over being left behind. Many of the first companions were deeply shocked by her decision, particularly Byron.
Where is he now?
That's the thing. I wanted to talk to him about my future, but he wasn't responding to my messages. So I came here to talk to him and... he seems to have vanished.
Can I access his terminal?
I suppose so. It seems a little unethical, but then... it is just his work terminal, right?
Any idea where the mic have gone?
No. The truth is that for the longest time, he barely left the museum. He was always at his terminal, working day and night. I asked him what he was doing once, and he said he was saving the past.
Did you check his house?
I did, on my way here. And I messaged most of his other friends. He doesn't seem to be anywhere in the city at all.
That is all.
Good luck with everything, 1K. And thanks for taking the time to talk to me.
No worries, Neith, I like you. Right then. Notes. Lab location inaccessible. Deliberate unclear. User profile, yes. Gold. Puzzles as barrier, yes. Hidden as self-protection, likely. External help to upload, yes. Ask Herman, no. Trust 1K, undecided. Applicable to Calvin, no. Applicable to Saranas? Okay, with Noma, yes. Right.
So this is what Cornelius was working on? Strange. It looks a bit like the blueprints for the Somnodrome, but no, it's not quite that. Is he trying to isolate something in the buffer? Maybe Melville can make sense of it, but I think this might be a dead end.
I need to finish up with the mayor. You can head back to the VTOL whenever you're ready. I'll meet you there. No rush, though.
We must listen to the wisdom of the ancient writers, or we will fail the Founder's trial. The megastructure must be rejected.
Oh, it's a gun ready.
You are the Founder's chosen, but you are in grave danger of going astray. Heed my words, 1K. If you fail this trial, a year from now, New Jerusalem will lie in ruins. Anyone can see the truth if they are willing to open their eyes. Have you not read the books of our ancestors? In every one of them, the same story is told, again and again, that the pursuit of knowledge can only lead to death and grief. That is what all the great ancient visionaries foresaw. Listen to their warnings. Seek happiness in tranquility, and avoid ambition. The very idea of a better future is what's rotten. That is what the ancients were trying to tell us. All the problems of the world come from those who think the world needs to be improved. Yes, progress is a fantasy. Things never truly change. All we can do is prevent our hubris from making things worse.
"1K, could you join us for a quick debrief?" Attending today are advisors from engineering, the archive scholars, and Helga.
Yes, don't mind me. I'm just an admirer of governmental transparency.
Yes, well. While the mayor is briefed by Alcatraz, he's asked us to review recent events. Byron's loss has unsettled us all. It may be too dangerous to allow this expedition to continue.
It is all deliciously mysterious, isn't it?
Let's not forget the dam's falling apart. We can't depend on hydro forever. With just a fraction of the power that island can generate, we could grow this city into a planetary society.
Or, quite possibly, destroy ourselves in the process.
Wise words from one so young. That island holds secrets far more valuable than mere energy generation.
What could be more important?
The Somnodrome, of course. If we could find a working model, it would herald a sea change in our moral and self-understanding. The question of how we should build New Jerusalem would simply be moot.
The Somnodrome was supposed to let us interact with our own subconscious code. It's a cool idea, but it wouldn't necessarily solve all our problems.
My own studies prove that we operate on an intrinsic moral logic. It's what makes us human. But our access to it is only indirect. Our ancestors created art, philosophy, and parable to help bridge that gap. The Somnodrome would help us to cut out the middleman and ask the source directly. We would finally have an answer to the great moral questions.
So, it's a newfangled way to make the same old mistake of judging who's good and who's bad.
We're fortunate 1K preserved the Somnodrome for our study. Initial data suggests it was a prototype with substantial design flaws. But there may be a working device elsewhere on the island.
Then the question is, what would 1K do if they found it?
No! This is much too important to decide on a whim.
But it's so much more fun when we're kept in suspense. You all sound so sure of what's best for this city. Do you ever think you might be so busy changing the world for the better, you'll forget how to see that it's perfect already?
So clearly there are different perspectives in the room. The only way we are going to move forward is if the team gets back out there. 1K, I believe Alcatraz is waiting for you at the VTOL. We'll be keeping an eye on your stream from here.
What can I do for you, 1K? They all sound very promising, of course. Apparently, it's possible to just magic things into existence now. But what is the cost, 1K? There's always a cost. I agree. We can't just leave one of our most important citizens in that death trap. It's always a pleasure to speak to a citizen.
What did the mayor say?
I convinced him that we need to keep going until we found Byron.
Did he want us to leave him behind?
No, he's just concerned for our safety. And he's right to be. But we're going back anyway.
Great trials lie ahead of you, my child. But your choices will determine the future.
Melville? Are you receiving?
Yep. Welcome back to the mysterious island, everyone.
How's the situation?
Whatever Byron did seems to have sent the whole system into some kind of lockdown. I can't access any of the terminals, although I suspect 1K still could.
Why would that be the case?
When 1K connected to the data stream, the system assigned him a user profile. The rest of us are locked out, which means I'll need your help, 1K, because a lot of stuff doesn't seem to be working.
Okay. Check it out and see what you can fix. But please remember, what matters most is finding Byron.
I'm sending you a little software upgrade I put together that should allow you to detect which files will lead to a data stream overload. Unfortunately, I'm not doing this to help you avoid them. In fact, I'm gonna need you to search for more. I'm sorry about that. But if we're going to unlock all the systems that aren't responding, you'll have to connect to the data stream. Possibly more than once. It's the only way for me to get access.
Back to the familiar. Now we can finally see.
All right,
what that
1K.
puzzles are like.
In this area, there seems to be a problem with the machine that makes the tetromino bridges. That means you can solve the puzzles, but you can't activate the tower. Look for a lab that lets you connect to the data stream.
I already found it. I'll send you the coordinates.
Ooh, guitar. Can I play? No? Fudge. That's sad. Oh.
Look at this place. It's beautiful, isn't it? Mesmerizing. That's how it lures you in, I think. You see all these beautiful things and your imagination starts working overtime. And then the puzzles, the towers, the mysterious apparitions, it all draws you further in, deeper into the trap. What if that's the whole point of this place? What if every time you have one of those visions, another little bit of you is corrupted, overwritten with the hubris of this place?
I haven't been... well...
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to suggest you were, whatever it is I'm trying to say. I guess I'm just disappointed in myself. Byron needs me. You all need me to do my job, and I can't even use a terminal. If this is all really the work of the Founder, I don't know, maybe she lost her way. Or maybe we're just not ready. But once we find Byron, I suggest we get the hell out of here and never come back.
I don't know. So YouTube keeps trying to spoil me with the endings of the game by suggesting the endings of the game. Luckily, I did not look at it, so yeah.
Our ancestors kept telling themselves that the brevity of their lives didn't matter. But they had so little time to ever really think about anything. I've spent several human lifetimes studying this mystery, and only now am I beginning to see. The simulation was built on top of material reality, unable to escape its constraints. In the same way, physics as we understand it, even quantum physics, is built on top of a deeper reality. A set of rules that define existence itself. There is a universal language of creation, and I think we can learn it.
The language of creation. What were they doing here? And how far did they get?
I can't answer that, but I think I fixed the Tetromino bridge, machine, ring thing. I say I think because it's not in the schematics. And what I'm doing is hack work at best. Try it and see if it works.
By the way, this was in a demo, so if you haven't watched my demo playthrough, do it, because this entire area is in the demo playthrough except for puzzles 5 through 8 and triangle puzzles and the gold puzzle. But yeah.
When the heavens are silent, what is a prophet and what is a tyrant?
Yeah, I've played through this area many times in the demo.
I've decoded another file from the data stream. Listen to this.
Mother and father think of our discoveries as a language, a code. But I think they're wrong. They're so caught up in the technical details of running the experiments and upgrading the machine that they're not paying attention to the patterns we're finding, to the symmetries, the harmonies, the melodies. The fundamental language of reality is a kind of music, and it's beautiful. Beauty is an inherent property of the cosmos.
I love the way she looks at things.
Ooh, does someone have a crush? Please post your thoughts on the expedition in the thread and keep it civil. I think the powers that Athena has unlocked are world-changing, and it's our responsibility to use them to lessen suffering for living things. We know we heard your broadcast. I think we're being tested and Byron failed the test. What happened to Byron was an accident. Is there a difference? Ultimately, yes, there is. No one's actually seen Athena and Cornelius or Miranda in the mixed structure. They could all still be aliens. I feel like we need to get at least we need to at least think about the potential of all these new technologies. Maybe the founder is trying to teach us how to use them. Why is everything malfunctioning on the island now? Is it because of Byron? He was still locked into the system. His presence may be disabling it somehow. Or it's Pandora. She seems to want to stop the team. I think it was 1K who suggested no. Okay. He's still locked into the system. His presence may be disabling it somehow. Or it's Pandora. She seems to want to stop the team. I think it was 1K who suggested the entities might be a part of some kind of security system. Could it be that the system has gone rogue? I've read about virus detection software on ancient human computers being like that. Misunderstanding what's what threat and what isn't. Interesting. The choice of Pandora as a symbol cannot be accidental, and the message is obvious. The megastructure is Pandora's box, and we should not open it. There, I got 3 things. Okay, terminal. There's a teleporter. And this. Nice. Right. Yeah, that's still the same. Nice. No! Ah. Not a word.
One day, undoubtedly, an expedition will pass by this island. It will seek to document facts and statistics, to enumerate reasons for us not to look more closely. That is what we do now. We seek facts rather than truth. Because truth might frighten and unsettle the comfortable people who like to sit in their conference rooms and debate which corners we should cut today. These people like to imagine the chaos that could come one day, like a comforting fairy tale of distant darkness. But they do not see the chaos that is at our walls right now. The chaos that also lives within us. A force that is both necessary and appalling.
I already solved this puzzle in the demo, so I'm really not going to solve it as it should be if I can, like, solve it in other ways. If you want to see how the puzzle is actually solved, go watch the demo. Thank you.
Listening to Miranda talk about beauty made me think. Okay, this might be super weird and kind of pretentious, but I honestly mean it. What is beauty? Like, Where does it exist? Is it just in our minds? Or is there some objective component? Something quantifiable? I always thought it was just perception. But if I understand her correctly, Miranda sees beauty as a property of the universe itself.
This one.
Interesting. So the more humans there are, the more we spread across the world, the more beauty there is. But then, doesn't it follow that it's our duty as a species to grow? To make the universe more beautiful?
Yes, imagine sentience spreading across the galaxy, and as it does, the cosmos coming alive with beauty.
That's a really powerful image. Beauty flowering in the universe as intelligence spreads. Thank you. I hope you're right.
I wanted to ask you about something else. What's your analysis of the southern regions?
The southern part of the island is a natural desert, basically just due to the chemical composition of the soil. I haven't been able to work out why it's so warm, though. It could be a warm ocean current or something to do with the megastructure's thermal output. New Jerusalem doesn't have the kind of equipment I'd need to figure that out.
Do you think Byron is okay?
I hope so. I understand why he was impatient, but he should have been more careful.
Did you know Cornelius?
Yeah, everyone knew Cornelius. After Eustathius retired, he was the only one left who was there since the beginning. Except I guess none of us really knew him after all. We all thought he was lost in the past, always studying the archive and the simulation. But he actually had all these secrets. And a daughter.
Are you disappointed in him?
No, just surprised. Maybe a little sad that he felt he couldn't trust anyone with the truth.
What did you do in New Jerusalem when we went back?
Mostly just made sure Pellegrino didn't mess up the VTOL. We only have a handful of them, and while they look cool on the outside, the truth is they're held together by gaffer tape and good intentions. There's a reason Melville's always complaining. When you put it like that, it seems hard to argue. More and more stuff isn't working anymore, and eventually there will be consequences. I think that's one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard. I hope it's true. Okay, this may sound like a robot joke, but I love heavy metal, especially the more melodic kind. It's big, it's epic, it's full of emotion. You can really get lost in it. Actually, I named Bruce after Bruce Dickinson, the lead singer of Iron Maiden. They used to call him the air raid siren, which is also what my Bruce sounds like.
That's all, thanks. We're good. Looks like you are just like Damien. Alright then, or Damian, or I don't know how to say his name, but yeah. Bravenak. Bravrach. That guy. Closer. Alright then. Hey, immediately.
Everything okay?
What did the mayor and Monibus say?
He blamed Byron for being headstrong and foolish, which I don't see it quite the same way, but it's easy to understand why the mayor would think that. It wasn't hard to convince him that we can't leave Byron behind, though. You may not agree with Herman on a lot of issues, 1K, but he's not a bad person. He's doing his best in a difficult situation.
Do you think Byron is still alive?
I hope so. He's always been annoyingly hard to get rid of.
Do you believe it is wrong for our ancestors to create us?
Why do you ask?
Because of the risk posed on the planet, just wondering. Because you seem very opposed to technology, and we are technology.
I'm not opposed to technology. I'm just opposed to trying to dominate everything. We can be part of the planet's history without having to be its masters.
Tell me about Cornelius.
He was the third to be born, after Athena and Eustathius. He was an important figure in New Jerusalem's early history, almost as important as Athena. But after she vanished, he faded into the background. I don't think anyone suspected he knew where she was.
What was he like as a person?
I didn't know him that well, but he was always very calm, very thoughtful. Everyone respected him.
What was Eustathius like? People really talk about him.
He was in charge of planning New Alexandria. It was his mistake that led to the disaster. After that, he retired from public affairs and dedicated himself to his studies.
Most of the first companions seem to be far less active than Byron. Do you blame him?
Yes.
Alright then. Do you like text adventure?
I do. Although I prefer the term interactive fiction. It's better at capturing what this art form really is. Storytelling, but with a completely different underlying structure. As a category, it's more equivalent to poetry or the novel, rather than, say, film.
Cool.
Anything else?
Do you ever think your beliefs are a response to what happened in New Alexandria?
You mean, am I unduly influenced by my experiences? Unable to imagine the better future Byron wanted because I'm too traumatized? Could be. But I'd like to think I'm a little more self-aware than that.
That's all. Nice. Alright. Last familiar puzzle, then we can finally do the puzzles that... Wait a minute, then we can do some puzzles that we haven't done yet. Well, let's listen to this.
In the early days, humankind lived in a world of unexplained wonders and terrors. The powers of the elements were understood in terms of gods and spirits. After all, how else could one explain thunderstorms and earthquakes? But as the realm of scientific knowledge expanded, the realm of the mystical began to shrink. The sacred grove, as Hegel wrote, was reduced to mere timber. But as superstition retreated, another thing was lost: meaning. In a purely mechanical universe, people yearned for the comfort provided by gods and spirits. But there was no way back.
But what about the beauty of the universe? The perfection of everything around us, couldn't they see that?
Not sure I can see that, Miranda. But I do think there was another way, a way forward instead of back. Faith not in an invisible world, but in ourselves, in each other, in the inherent value of consciousness and civilization. They never really found it, but I think that in those last months when their whole species was dying, they caught a glimpse of it. And that's how your mother was born.
If humankind had no more cause for war, it would make war for sport instead.
You know, a couple of years back, we went on a scavenging expedition to an ancient industrial complex south of New Jerusalem. It was enormous, sprawling, an area many times bigger than our whole city, just dedicated to manufacturing. It was incredible to think about the sheer variety of things they produced. And it made me realize how austere, how restricted our lives are. You know how most ancient structures are overgrown? It's kind of pretty, but in a sad way. Well, this one wasn't. There had been some kind of chemical spill. I don't know if it happened while the structure was still operational, or if something had just rotted through, but it killed everything. Even centuries later, nothing could grow. It didn't have to happen that way. And history doesn't have to repeat itself. But we do have to remember that it did happen once.
Well, that concludes it for this episode. Thanks for watching. See you next time.